check. 334 subscribers. Let's freaking go. So, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. The story is from user Gemini Love CA. Alright, I know it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it's 100% what happened to me about 24 years ago. When I was still relatively newly married, my then husband and I moved into a townhouse-style apartment. The 2 floors of our apartment were on the second and third floors of the building, and the management office and the mailbox area was almost directly below us on the ground level. Important for later. The woman who managed the building was older, didn't care for the property well, and usually spent most of her days chain-smoking Camel non-filters in her office. And being a hateful old racist, oh, it's no good. Imagine renting a place from Juno the social worker from Beetlejuice, but less helpful. She really resented that we had the townhouse, claiming we lied about me being pregnant when we moved it, because she didn't want to rent that unit to people with kids. She also made a few disparaging remarks about my husband due to his race. She was a real peach, truly. So after the kiddo was born, I was as busy keeping the house clean and the baby occupied without a car or local mom friends. After lunch, the kiddo needed a bath. Anyone who's fed a 9-month-old baby knows the mess that can happen. So I went upstairs and ran the tub. Soon, I had the baby sitting happily, splashing in one of the suction cup bath seats. Important to note, it's the middle of winter and we had no heat, an issue I'd been fighting Juno the landlord about for a while, among other maintenance issues, like my fucking ceiling fan or my garbage disposal that was held on with duct tape and leaking. We basically had to keep a space heater or 2 in every single room to keep the chill off. I had taken one of the space heaters in the bathroom to keep the bathroom warm enough for bath time, and had it sitting out of reach and splashing distance on top of the bathroom counter. I was standing in the bathtub, getting ready to lift the baby out, when all of a sudden, the space heater started to rock back and forth, when it had not been rocking before. I had this horrible feeling of dread as I looked at the heater, and I just reached out because I knew I couldn't get both of us out of the bath at the same time. I reached down to grab the baby seat, ending up pulling it off the tub and dropping the baby over the side of the tub onto the bathroom floor, just as the heater got to the end of the cord. It thumped into the shower, bounced off the edge of the tub, and landed on the side of the floor a couple inches away, where it shut off. It had auto shut off just in case it got tipped over. When I looked over the corner of the bathroom, the part of the room seemed to just get darker, like it was filling up with shadows. There was no smoke, no change in lighting, no windows. It was just darker. I also started to smell cigarette smoke, Camel non-filters, which I knew the smell of well from being in Juno's office all the time to get things fixed. The smell was so thick it made me cough and my chest ached, but I couldn't see any smoke haze, and I felt this overwhelming sensation of hatred and malice, like someone was standing there giving me a death glare. I grabbed the baby in a towel and ran downstairs. I was so freaked out. I couldn't bring myself to go back up there, so I used some diapers from the diaper bag and kept the baby wrapped in the towel and cuddled to stay warm. I stayed down there the entire rest of the day until my husband got home. Every so often, I'd look up the stairs at the bathroom, but I didn't want to take the baby up there, and I was afraid to leave him alone. When he asked me why the baby wasn't dressed, I told him about the heater and the smoke in the bathroom, and he went up to check, figuring it was just yet another maintenance issue. There was no electrical issues, no damage to the outlet, no smoke, no cigarette smell. He put the heater back on the counter and turned it on. Watched it for a few seconds. It didn't rock, so it didn't rock itself off the counter earlier. He laughed it off, but later that day, we heard Juno's adult son downstairs near the mailboxes yelling his head off at people. And that's when we found out she'd had a massive heart attack in her office earlier that day, and he'd found her dead in her chair with a Camel non-filtered still in her hand. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Yeah, it's very weird. I'm just gonna go right to the next story. Alrighty, this one is from Majora420. Okay. Something invited itself into my friend's home. I've told this story on another subreddit, but this is the one haunting experience that really freaked me out. When I was younger, I had a next door neighbor named Lexi, and she was my best friend. I need to stop looking up at the camera, I keep losing my place. Our parents would go on trips on motorcycles with each other, and we would camp at one of our houses until they came back. It was normal for us. We never had any paranormal events prior to this specific night. We were sitting in the bedroom, talking and doing what we normally did. We saw a bright light through our window, followed with the sound of motorcycles pulling onto the gravel driveway. We instantly think, okay, our parents forgot something. But before we could even get up to leave the bedroom, we heard knocks and a soft woman's voice say, hello. The front door opened. This was a familiar sound because the door scraped against the hardwood flooring. We panicked, thinking there was an intruder at this point because this woman didn't sound like our family. We have very Texan voices. We scouted the house, scared out of our minds, just to find the front door wide open and nobody in the driveway. Nobody was in the house. We finally felt better. We walked back into her bedroom, but before she went to enter, she collapsed onto the floor and started sobbing. I didn't know what was happening. I was scared, and she told me something as tall as the doorframe was standing in her parents' room. Oh my God, After our parents returned, her family continued to have paranormal activity in their house. They moved out too. Oh, I just got like goosebumps. I hate the idea of just shadow figures and stuff. That shit is so scary. I've never seen one, thankfully, but oh, that's weird. Alright, next story is from Company Pizza. I manage a venue that used to be a Roman Catholic church and was then abandoned and used as a flop house for many years. I am frequently in the building alone at night by myself, closing up after shows and club nights. Several strange things have happened to me there. Number 1, I was really busy setting up for an event, and I was walking along the mezzanine area toward a room that everyone had told me was haunted. And while I love ghost stories, I don't really believe in supernatural on a fundamental level. The last thing on my mind at this time was spooky stuff. I was en route from one area to another, on a mission to do some logical task or another. I paused at the railing, and suddenly I felt the sensation of being grabbed hard around the ankle, as though from below, which made no sense as it was a 25-foot drop down to the main floor. I leapt backwards and started shaking my leg and looked everywhere, but saw nothing. That was the first story. He has 4. So number 2, I was taking a meeting in broad daylight with a collaborator. We were sitting on a plush couch in the middle of the space, enjoying our conversation about a potential series of events we could do. Because it was a business meeting, I left one cushion of space between him and myself on the couch. Suddenly, mid-sentence, I felt the distinct sensation of someone walking up to us and then sitting directly between us. We both paused and just stared at the cushion, which was moving. There was an impression as though someone had sat down, and there was a palpable energy and tension in the air. It felt for all the world as though the invisible person was sitting right there. We sat frozen in silence for about 30 seconds, which is a long time in the middle of a business meeting, is what they put in parentheses, staring at the cushion, until I finally waved my arms through the space in exploration and laughed. We were both confused and shaken and ended the meeting quickly. Dude, if I ever have an experience where, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Because, my stance with ghosts and stuff, me and my friends, we've even gone, ghost hunting before. I have, the ghost box, voice box, whatever it's called, I forget. Because I'm a big, BuzzFeed Unsolved fan, so I bought one of those, the spirit box is what it's called. So we've gone ghost hunting before, and we've definitely found some weird stuff, but I still don't know my stance, if I believe it or not. I want to, but I just feel like I need to have, an experience like that. If I ever had an experience where, I distinctively see something, I know that I'm not tripping or nothing, or, if I feel something sit down, especially with another person, I'd be convinced that ghosts are real, but until that happens, I don't know. Okay, he has 2 more stories here. Okay. 3, I had to supervise a group who was rehearsing in the space. I was hungover and I got in the morning, let in the group, and went upstairs into a secluded area to take a nap on the couch and wait out my shift. Mid-nap, I woke up suddenly and heard heard someone slowly descending the stairs from the bell tower. I froze and kept my eyes closed, thinking it was someone from the rehearsing group, and I just wanted them to go away. The footsteps drew closer, and I heard what sounded like a man muttering to himself under his breath as he leaned over me and grasped my hip hard. He squeezed it until it hurt. I let out a yell and opened my eyes, but there was nobody there. Perhaps just sleep paralysis, but very odd. I've never had sleep paralysis incident before. Again, if I wake up and someone's fucking grabbed my hip like that, I'm gonna freak the fuck out, dude. Alright, number 4. Multiple instances of seeing figures in the mirror, hearing doors slam, etc. People calling my name from distant corners when I'm there by myself. The custodian once told me she refuses to clean at night anymore since she heard someone quietly praying in the confessional at 3 in the morning. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my gosh. That's so scary. I just feel uncomfortable after reading that. Yikes. Alright, let's find another story. We have a few short ones here. Okay, about a month after my dad died, I was a week into school and slept through my alarm. If I got up, then I'd have 10 minutes to get ready before leaving. And I would be late if I didn't get up right then. Suddenly, I wake up to a male shouting my name at the front of my bed. No man stood there, nor was there any male in my house at the time. My mom said she never called, so my dad woke me up that morning so I wouldn't be late for school. See, that's a W. Scary story. We have somebody that commented right under a similar situation for me, except my mom had passed away. It was about 12 to 13 years after that, and a Saturday morning. I lived by myself in an apartment except for my cat, and distinctly heard a woman's voice gently speak down the hallway. "Wake up, Thad." I woke up with a start. It was 5 in the morning, and searched my apartment thinking someone had broken in. Nothing. I worked every 4th weekend, but that was a weekend off. Still, it's the thought that counts. Again, very, very weird. Just checking the time. Alright, let's get another one here. Okay. I always scan through these because I wonder if I'm someone's scary story. When I was little, my grandparents lived near an old cemetery. Old crumbling crypts. And the neighborhood kids played there. One night, we were playing a game they called Ghost in the Graveyard, hide and seek tag. One it stood at one end. Everyone scattered. Then we walked straight through, looking for everyone. The goal was for it to walk back by without seeing you, then being able to get back to the start unseen. I ran to one side and climbed up to the top of a crypt and hid behind a stone angel. Was up there for a little while, trying to see where everyone was, and I heard someone talking. I peeked around the angel and saw 2 people, probably mid-late teens, a guy and girl. The girl looked up, I assume saw me. She dropped the flashlight she had and started screaming. God, she was so loud. She ran away, still screaming with the guy chasing behind her. I was 7, light year just outside of Baltimore. That is a funny perspective on a nice little scary story. That'd be really funny to be the person that ran away and to read that. That is very funny. Alrighty, next story. Okay, my family used to have a maid when I was very young. When she cleaned stuff, it would end up going missing until my mom found out. She puts random stuff lying around into black plastic bags and leaves them around. My mom then asked her what the F she was doing that for. She tells her, "Kak se suka ke ni tapiti minta se punchkamu," while pointing to her back. It translates to, "I like you, but he's asking me to kill you." My mom immediately sent my grandfather and me upstairs and threw her out to the porch. My grandmother started sprinkling the maid with holy water and she started to scream. My uncle came over to when my mom told her this and got mad too. She ended up getting sent back to her country but she called my mom one last time before leaving while trying to apologize. Well, that's there you go. Next story. I've told this on Reddit before, but it's one I very rarely tell in person because people invariably don't believe me. This can be a good one, I bet. sunny day when I entered the tower. There was a flight of stairs that wound up around the edge of the tower and no windows. Climbing the tower took, at the very most, 5 minutes. At the top of the stairs, there was a ladder and a trapdoor that opened up onto the roof of the tower. When I opened it, I found the weather had changed dramatically and was overcast and threatening. I forget if there's thunder or not, but I was generally concerned about lightning being at the top of a tall tower in that weather. Sorry, I keep stuttering, but some of these people are leaving out words, so then I have to put them back in. Well, I'm gonna shut up. I cautiously climbed out onto the roof just to have a quick look before getting straight down. The roof was surrounded with sort of metal cage of bars that were presumably intended to prevent anyone from jumping or falling off the top of the tower. I heard some thunder and saw electricity arc between some of the bars. I decided that the tower was imminently going to be struck and descended as quickly as I could. At the bottom, I was surprised to find the weather was again sunny and a clear sky. My girlfriend could tell I was shaking, and she was amazed when I told her. I thought that maybe there had been lightning. The weather hadn't changed at all whilst I'd been up there, and it remained sunny and clear. I'm very much a skeptic when it comes to paranormal. I'm not religious, and I've had no other weird experiences like this. In short, I'm not your stereotypical spooky things can happen to me kind of person, and yet I've got no explanation for this. I've tried since to figure out which tower it was. I spent a couple summers traveling around southern Europe, and I climbed a lot of old towers, and I'm fairly sure it was the Torre Grasso in San Gimignano. I don't know. I'm gonna put a picture of it up. It doesn't have a cage around the top, but there's a metal cage around the bells, and that must be what I remember. That is extremely strange. Imagine just the weather completely changing. That would be very weird. Man, I wish I had a paranormal experience or something. But I think what the thing is me wanting to see a UFO or just a ghost or something like that. You don't see that stuff until you aren't looking for it. So I just need to stop worrying about it, and then maybe it'll come naturally. Or maybe they just don't exist and I won't see them. I don't know. Alright, I think I'm going to go with one more story for today. You have another long one. This one's pretty long. The longest yet, so here we go. I've had a few supernatural experiences, but the one I usually go to is when I worked in a supermarket. I grew up in a farm town, and the only place to get groceries besides the grossly overpriced Shopko on the edge of the town was the family-owned supermarket, Robertson's. The Robertson family was very active in the community, but also had a reputation for miserably to straight up evil. To misery to straight up evil, depending on who you ask. If you ask me and the rest of the bag boys, the Robertson had a dark aura around it. Many features contributed, like the vaulted ceilings in the back rooms, the creaking floors in the upstairs offices, the door hidden behind a pile of old shelves that seemed to lead under the loading dock. The worst was the patriarch of the Robertsons, Blaine. He was too old to handle the business decisions, but he was too stubborn to let his two-pay-totting son take it out of his hands. So he spent his days shuffling around the floor, antagonizing the bag boys at every turn. He chastised us for clocking in more than 1 minute early. He chastised us for standing at the clock with a minute left in our shift. He chastised us for moving laziness the second we weren't actually moving items. I always joked that Blaine was a vampire. He just refused to die. Why else is there never a call over the intercom for kids who lost their parents? One night, my suspicions were reinforced. Oh shit. Blaine had showed up about 9 to take care of some office work upstairs. With all of our closing duties done, my partner for the night and I lollygagged in the stock room, right at the foot of the office stairs. When 10 rolled around and it was time to close, I figured I'd let Blaine know we were locking up. I started up the stairs and suddenly noticed it was dark. I got to the top and looked around. Not a single light in the offices was on. We'd stood at the bottom of the stairs the whole time and Blaine hadn't passed us. Even when Blaine isn't looming like Nosferatu, strange things happen upstairs. The exposed water pipes leading downstairs twang like someone hit them with a hammer. Footsteps on the creaky old floor echo through the whole back room. All of this happens when the offices are pitch black as we stand next to the stairs. One night my partner and I got freaked out by the noises from the offices and decided to spend the remainder of the ship lapping the store. But as we walked perpendicular to the aisle, vegetable aisle suddenly fell off the shelf. We put it back in place and started walking again. 2 aisles down, another can fell off. This time, as I put it back in place, a can 15 feet down the aisle flew off the shelf. We left that one sitting and huddled around the cashiers for the rest of the shift. To top it off, though, a bag boy requested to be taken off night shifts after an experience he had in the break room. The break room has 2 small bathrooms, male and female. He was taking his dinner break when he heard a baby crying from the women's bathroom. He had been there 5 minutes already and hadn't seen anyone come in, much less with a baby. He endured the crying for about 5 more minutes before he got concerned and knocked on the door. Repeated knocks and questions got nothing back, except for non-stop bawling. He was finally convinced something had happened to the mother and cracked the door open. The room was dark and empty. Nope. That is fucked. Oh, that'd be so scary. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the stories. Yeah, I wish I had my own stories to tell, but I don't really. I mean, I have like a few small ones, but I think maybe I'll do a different video where I tell my stories, or like maybe like my friends' stories or something, so it's more personable. But there's this one is not like scary or paranormal. It's just like unexplainable, and it sounds like I'm lying. And I text my friends like right after this happened, and I know like it just sounds so weird. I don't get. Let me tell it. So I was just it was during the summer, or no, it was just this last semester of school. So, or maybe it was summer. I don't know. It was like sometime between probably July and like September. Anyways, I put a pot pie in the microwave, and they have to cook for like 7 minutes. So I put it in for 7 minutes, and I went back out. I let my dog out, or my brother's dog, and I was chilling outside scrolling on my phone for like 2 minutes. So then she went to the bathroom, so I let her back in, and I went back to sit down and go wait for my pot pie, but it was already done. So it had been 7 minutes, but I swear to you, I was only outside for like max 3 minutes. I swear. And I could not explain it. Like, it's obviously like it's not like nothing crazy, but I promise, like I swear I was not outside for the full 7 minutes. And I just left outside right after I started the microwave. So I don't know if I like skipped like a cool like 3-4 minutes of that day or somehow or something or what. But I was very confused, like for like the rest of the day, and I felt weird. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry I can't read. I stutter a lot, but it's whatever, you know. Yeah, I hope you guys are well. I love you all very much, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. Just fucking kissed you.